Welcome everyone. The topic for this presentation would be on problem solving and decision making. Remember, if there is a problem, there is a decision. If, should I say vice versa, if you take a decision, it might lead to another problem. So this is what we will be discussing in today's presentation. Sitna. Sitna is a term that is very relevant. Situation that needs attention. As I say, Sitna. Situation that needs attention. Either I am describing the problem or I am trying to focus on your decision making skill, because that is the situation where a decision is required, or that is the situation which needs to be dissected and needs to be resolved, as because this situation is problematic in nature. The phrase and the term was coined by John Jones way back. So reframing a problem is all about Sedna. It is about removing the negative connotation with the we place on the problems. Not all problems are negative in nature. You can make the most out of the problem and transform a problem into an opportunity. But nevertheless, let us come to the basic nomenclatures of problems. Problems are what? They are complaints, they are challenges, they are issues that needs to be addressed or improved upon, their opportunities, their performance gaps. Remember, that is what I've been trying to tell it to you. People would always look into complaints, improvement requirement, performance gap as in the negative thing. We can also look at it as a challenge, as an invigorating stuff, or an opportunity where we can capitalize on it. So situation that need attention is all about complaints, challenges, improvement required, opportunities, and the performance gap. It is the way you want to see the problem solving capacity or the decision making thing. Remember, whatever the term that we discuss it in this presentation, problem solving is just one type of decision making. Yes, the moment you take try to solve a problem or resolve a problem or take a problem head on, you are basically deciding to do something about it. So problem solving is one type of decision making. Way back, Blackard and Guthrie pointed out there are four categories of daily activities that we face. Four things, nothing much. We do it on a daily basis. You do it, I do it, everyone else in this world do it. Things that we want and have to do it. That I require it and probably I want to do it or I have to do it. But then things we have to do, but we don't want to do. So there are certain things that we have to do it, but probably I don't want to do it. Probably, I'm something very sure about it. We have to do it because you are going through this particular course, because you know that you want to see yourself in a better position later point of your time in your career, right? But as of doing this process of watching the videos, maybe I am just guessing it out and spending a lot of money. This is something which you probably is detesting to do it. Why? Because you are myopic in nature and probably viewing as the moment, living at this moment. That might not be very conducive. But eventually, in the long run, all of you will be benefited from watching this particular video, gaining this particular certification, and so on and so forth. So things we have to do. These are the things that we have to do, despite the fact we don't want to do. And the third thing, that things we want to do but we don't have to do. Something, there are many inhibitions, there are many restrictions that the society places on us so that we lead a very normal, healthy, respectful social life. That is what we want to do. Those are things, those taboo things which we want to do probably, but we don't have to do. Why? Because we can lead a very normal life without doing such things, right? Probably I want to watch a movie or spend a time in a grand theaters altogether, watch it on a big screen. Things we want to do it, but what eventually I do is might be watching it in my 50-inch color televisions or LED televisions, as the case might be, at the comfort of my space. Despite the fact that I wanted to watch it on the theater, I end up watching it as on when on basis on the Netflix. So this is what we are looking into. And then there are things that we don't want to do and we don't have to do. So there are things that we detest probably and we don't have to do. Probably some sort of drug abuse or substance abuse that we don't want to do and we don't have to do it also. But then these are the four paradigm that people get flustered about it. Again, repeating in things we want to do and have to do, things we have to do but we don't want to do, things you want to do but don't have to do, and then things we don't want to do and neither we have to do it. So yes, this is a thing where you need to prioritize your activities about your problem solving and decision thing. There are things you which is all you, yes, you want to do and have to do. There are things you don't want to do and don't have to do, and there are things you want to do and don't have to do. And there's something which there's a compulsion that comes around it, wherein you have to do it and probably you don't want to do it. And since compulsion was a negative word, I have deliberately left it out. Probably I could not go with adjustment or compromise or whatever you do. There are things that we have to do, right? Every one of us, despite the fact that we don't want to do it anyway. So personal decision making is a time management versus your life management. Time management is a decision making process. It is how you are going to prioritize your things. Effective personal decision making requires effective time management. We are all about your decision making. Remember, your scheduling, your effective scheduling, your control of time, your allocation of resources can be counterproductive as COVID phrases organize and execute around priorities. Prioritize everything early in the morning, prioritize everything early in the week, prioritize everything early in the month, early in the quarter, early in the annual, early in your career. If you can prioritize it, can plan it, and then execute your plan, I am sure you will be a wonderfully a successful person. So personal decision making is an efficiency focus may limit the development of rich relationship. Our ability to enjoy the moment if we organize, execute around priorities, the focus is preserved and enhancing relationship. And that is what we are looking for it, right? Aren't we? We all want to accomplish results. We all want to be an outstanding performer. We all want adulations everywhere. And that is what personal decision is all about. It is an efficiency focus. It is a focus to develop wonderful relationship and probably enjoy in the bask of glory in the moment of time. So life management is nothing but decision making. Life management is nothing but probably managing ourselves and enjoying the moment thereby. So time management matrix, let us understand what it goes around it. It is all about classifying your time or classifying your work into urgency and importance as the case might be. Importance of personal visions or mission, personal goals, what goes around it. Let us understand the Covey's matrix, which is basically nothing but based on urgency and importance. Urgency means time bound. It has to be done now or can be shifted or done later on. Whereas important is all about the outcomes. You just have to do the work, the task that comes around it. Let us go to each of the quadrant that goes around it. Remember, goal is what you are looking out here. So if there is something which is urgent and they are important, so that is what is all we looking into. It is a crisis thing. It's a pressing issues. You have to have a deadline around it. You just cannot negate it. You have to work on quadrant number one. But then there are certain things which are not urgent, which can be delegated probably but they are absolutely important. They are not urgent. They don't have a time pressures around it, but they are absolutely urgent. So what you can do is you can prevent it. It is all about relationship building, planning, recreation, and worthwhile that the case might be. Then there are issues which are very urgent, but definitely not having the pressing values of time as comes in, not very important that way. So for example, the urgent is you are doing a work and suddenly you have been interrupted with a mail or probably with a phone call or somebody comes in and speaks to you. So you have to attend to those phone calls, that email to that person, and this is what is urgent. Probably you could have foregone it, but if you forego it, you are only spoiling the relationship. That should not be the criteria. Let us move to what exactly happens, which are neither important nor urgent. These are trivia work. These are not much important. It is just those phone calls, those mail that you have been longing to make but have not been able to find out enough time to make that phone calls. These are basically time wasters or activities which you can indulge during your leisure times. So moving from an individual to team, as in how what the focus is all about. Teams are composed of individuals. You remember, each team members are the members in places. Until and unless they incorporate themselves, you cannot form comprise a team. So some individuals are hardy, they are resilient. Some are challengers, they seek challenges. Some seek opportunities in the problem. So what are we looking at it? Some individual demonstrate self-efficacy. Who are you? On a fully functioning team, most, if not all, individuals demonstrate these traits as the case might be. So, fully functioning team would work together successfully, solve problems, reach decision in a way that incorporates the individual inputs. Now, what are we looking at it? We may reach a decision through consensus, adapt to the change, achieve or exceed desired result as the case might be, as what we are looking forward to. Isn't this the full functioning team will all about be? It's all about working together, solving the problems, probably looking at a decision through consensus and adapting to the changes, achieving and exceeding the desired result as on when on basis. How do we go about it? So teams and decision making. A team has a purpose, definitely is. A vision from where it is heading, a picture of the desired result. The question is, which path do we take? How do we proceed? That is what the questions for a team is concerned. Remember the phrase that I've already stated with you is Sitna. Sitna is situation that needs attention. So decision making is choosing and implementing a solution to the identifiable situation which needs attention. Without vision, without decision making, there is no need for leadership. And that is what has been stated by Thomas Harvey well back. You need to have a proper vision, proper objective, proper goals to ensure that the decision that you embark upon is right there, right to improve upon it. So let us move into the types of decision. Types of decisions I have been trying to tell it to you based on your urgency and based on your importance. Importance is basically the criteria of outcomes. Urgency is basically the criteria of completion on time. So we have command whether it's urgent and important. We have a convenience decision which is not important nor urgent. We have a consultative decision which is neither important, absolutely not urgent, but is important. Definitely, but is important. And there is consensus uh, de decisions where there is nothing urgent about it, but is definitely important as such. So, what are we looking into it? So decisions which are urgent and important are commanding decision, which is neither important nor urgent. We'll be talking about convenience decision, which is consulting decisions are all about which is not urgent, absolutely, or important as the case might be is consultations, and consensus is not important but at the same time should be taken into consideration as in not urgent is consensus decision. So let us speak about team consensus. With both consultation and consensus, let people know upfront what are the thoughts that has been used to be, what, how will they be utilized for, what is we are looking at the end of the exercise. So it is not urgent and important. So key for consensus is everyone understands the issues, everybody expresses an opinion, and everybody one has to implement the decision whatever has been taking, and this is a team consensus decision that comes around it. Let us understand with practical decision making. For consensus, decision making is a six-step process. Now, which we look forward to it. That is what we are looking. Six steps. If you want to go about it, how do you go about? First step is your mindset. Set your mind altogether. Problem definitions. Definitely yes. Solution criteria, possible solutions, solutions choice, and implement the steps thereby. This is what we are looking forward toward is the possible criteria. So we have to set up our mind, define the problems, solution criteria, possible solutions, and the choices thereof from the solution before we actually implement altogether. So we define it, we look for avenues, options, select the best options, and probably implement that option thereby. And that is what practical decision making steps are all about it. So What is it? If we are looking for a mindset, we need to talk and don't solve. Create a safe environment that everybody can pitch in. Sit now. Situation is that need attention, right? Thinking and discussing the problem. What are the resources required to solve that issue? Let us go to the organizational context, circumstances and setting, vision, values, organizational direction. Toxicity, how will it affect the organization as a case might be? People context, how do people feel? What position are evident? Is the problem political in nature? Is the problem viable? Decision making context, what type of decision making is needed? The given resources, legal, and other parameters as the case might be. That is what the mindset is all about. It talk and don't solve. Sitna, that what we are looking at. Organizational context is circumstances and setting. Vision, values, organizational directions. People context, how do people feel and what positions are evident? This is what we are looking forward to. We come to the step number 2 is decision problem. Where do we identify the problems clearly? If the problem is clear, then probably the steps are very short. But if it is not clear, it's a new venture, there are no clear visions, new visions altogether, new parameters, new performance criteria, and so on and so forth. Then what is your problem definition? The shortfall. So if there's a shortfall, you have to identify nothing but the gaps, the standards and the actuals. What was the existing condition and what is the desired condition? If there is the gap, why the gap is there? We look into the improvement issues. Let's say the existing gap and the new expectation. What was the improvement that has been missing around? Is it the skill issue, a will issue, allocation of the resources issue? Is it the competency issue? What are we looking into it? And thereby look for an opportunity. Can this there be lurking an opportunity that needs to be capitalized on? We come to the step number 3 as such. It's the solution criteria. Criteria examples are being 100% consensus. It will not cost more than certain amount of money, certain amount of dollar that needs to be around it. So what are those 3 criteria that comes around it? One, that is needs, must have for decisions. You have to have a decision as a team member. Everybody wants to come to a decision. Wants it, what it should be. Ideally, what should the decision and what has actually happened as in the decision. Nice to a perk if required. Probably if there are benefits that comes around it. This step is critical to remove any emotions, any politics. It also helps us in focusing into the various alternatives that comes that might be looked into in the matters as the case might be. We come with a possible solution. Let us understand with the solution that comes around it. It's a natural solution. There might be one, two, three, four, five alternatives that might generate n numbers of times. So solutions, once you have n numbers of alternatives, might come up with as silly, as finicky, as serious, as whatever it is. It can be anything, right? But then clarification is the first step. Get the ideas out and then clarify. Combine. Some ideas may be combined together. So you have a host of ideas. Some of them are to be discarded outright, but do entertain all the ideas because this will only foster creativity and innovations within the group as far as tackling the problems are concerned, as far as coming to an out of box decision. So if required, modify those claims, modify those options, combine those things and probably come up with a list of possible solution that is there. We come into the step number 5. Remember all possible solutions and solution criteria generated in step number 3. The best solution, choose them. In fact, you can always have a backup plan as a second best solution. So it is the one that satisfies everybody's requirements of needs, wants, and the nice to. So if everybody's objective has been met, that is the need that you come to a solution. If the most of the team members wants are also been satiated, and if there is something called nice to for every one of us, it is the best possible solution that we are looking into it. So it has the least or probably negligible negative consequences. So reach consensus within the team. We come to the last step, and last step is nothing but to execute the options that we have already chosen out of plan. So that is the action plan. Do it, inspect it, and install it. Structuring team members, get the Doyle and Strauss books, have the norms all together. You should come with it, come towards the process all together, have a proper agenda, assign responsibility, who is going to be a facilitator, who is the person who is going to record everything, document everything, the timekeepers, the process observers, and probably person who is going to allocate the resources, the snack providers, anything and everything. If we can have team meetings, if we can structure the meetings in a formal fashion, it will only lead to a better facilitation, implementation, execution, and idea generation process. So rotate those responsibilities so that everybody gets involved. Report the group memo rather than the minutes. Use formal structural devices as the case might be. Now talking about the structural devices, it's a technique that helps individual in understanding the issue. There might be people who might not have understood the issues in the proper context. So try to reorient them and re-educate them as to what we are looking forward to. So make them clarify the issues clearly, offer their thoughts and opinion, reduce, never be emotional, reduce your stress, be practical, stay on track, on time, and move towards a decision. Techniques for ordering how people decide things. They structure their behavior. Each steps in the decision making model has a menu of structuring devices from which to choose and which to negate. And this is what the structuring device is all about. We need to understand that we don't have enough time to do everything right. Absolutely no. But we always have the time to do it again and do it over. So you might not have time to do everything right. You might falter, but we can always pick up a thread and we can again strive hard. And that is how we are going to mitigate the problem and come to a decision making process. And that is how life will carry on. With this few words, I would love to end this particular video presentation. Thank you for watching the video.